Yo, big day. Podcast every day this week, except the days I don't do it. Tomorrow is a Wednesday, right? So, although this podcast will be a bigger one. It's one of those headliney ones, those attention grabbing ones that a lot of people will be clicking on and hitting until drafts go. So the next, we got like 3 weeks of full on draft season right now. But Wednesdays are a little bit tougher for me. I do some other stuff, help out at there's a school my church runs, and my kids go there, and they are in it's a private Christian school, not like an elite one or anything like that. Like some private schools are like obviously not in any kind of need whatsoever. And then you have the other end of it too, which is kind of where we're closer to being like, we need a lot of help. So I volunteer there to do IT stuff. And I even help teach actually we have a sports podcasting class. It's like an elective. They have all these special elective days there, which is pretty sweet for the kids. So the head of school, the principal, had the idea. He's a big sports guy, so he had the idea of doing some kind of like sports content, sports media. We ended up calling it sports podcasting because that's kind of just what everything is, more or less. I don't really know how you define the word podcast, but so I've been helping with that. It's obviously up my alley. Problem is that like 7th graders, 8th graders, 9th grader, like pretty much the whole level. But when there are some middle schoolers in there, and they just like, a lot of them don't care about sports at all, which makes it kind of challenging. And not many people have the incredible ability of me to sit here and podcast, right? Like, I'm mostly kidding. Like, most people can do a podcast and do just fine, but not too many like young kids. So it hasn't really been what we thought. We were hoping for them to be like doing podcasts and stuff and having good stuff to say and being interested into it. That hasn't really happened. But anyway, Wednesdays might be a little bit tougher to get a pod, but me and Tim have to do our redraft shortstops one this week, so that'll be coming up. Couple other things to mention before we get to the meat. Need DFS writers. I guess I'm good on waiver wires. I'm looking to get more writers out there. I've said this before, but if you want to contribute, if you just do it, I'm looking for people that have experience. Obviously, that helps. People that know the tools, that are subscribers, that know how to kind of can fit the mold here and use the tableaus and stuff, so we can point people to the resources, stuff like that. I'm pretty covered, I guess, on waivers. Pretty much like all the guys I've already kind of talked to have been like, yeah, I want to write waiver stuff. But what I kind of need is like, I need some DFS dudes, because the daily projections are the big selling point, right? And I like writing DFS articles, but I can't do it. I don't think I can do it 5 days a week. Like I would like to. That would be fun if my whole life could just be like writing DFS articles every day. It'd be sweet. But I'm definitely not going to do it on Sundays, and then Saturdays, I probably won't do it. And I would preferably like have someone else that's pretty nice at it, pretty good at it, to help me out. So we can only like kind of split it up 4 days, 3 days, or maybe we just skip Sundays altogether or something like that. So if that sounds like it interests you, reach out. There's a form, there's a post on I should send out another email about this, but yeah, there's that. We got some new guys that will be showing up here, especially when the season gets going. You'll be hearing more from John Allen. You'll be hearing more from Doc. Hopefully Doc can even write a little bit. I'm not sure about all that. And then we've got some other dudes. I won't say their names yet because nothing's happening for sure yet, but that's coming. So if you want to be part of the team, you get a little bit of money. Again, like I'm buying you a couple, a little bit a month. You like a couple cases of IPAs or something every month. That'd be kind of a lot, I guess. Depends on who you are, but it's not nothing, and you get a free subscription and you get be part of the team. And who knows, maybe MLBDW like fully blows up someday, and we can all, a couple of us can really make real money. I mean, I'm making real money on it. Shout out to me, but maybe I can bring some people with me as we go. Not close to that yet, but this is how things start. And it's always nice to get in on the ground floor, like Tim, Hunter, Doc, John, the guys helped me already. Like, there's loyalty there. So DFS betting, but if you have any other ideas, if you just like to write about baseball, send me what you got. I got to see it. Like, I gotta talk to you. I gotta like you. I gotta see that you're capable of doing it before I, open the doors for my newsletter and stuff. Cause there are, like, this thing hits a few thousand inboxes with a 40 or so % open rate. So it is not a small operation anymore, which is awesome. And thank you for everything. So this can be a little bit of a thank you to everybody, because I'm doing this one for free. The article is already out. It's on the screen if you're watching. My perfect draft plus my guys. This could have been 2 paywalled posts, but I made it 1 unpaywalled post. So it's the culmination of everything almost. Not really, I guess, because we're only mentioning, 30 players in the perfect draft, and then quite a few more. I think there's probably close to 80, 90, 100 players in the My Guys section. I don't know. Is that right? Probably over 50. Yeah, it's a pretty long list. So it's not exactly like My Guys where you pick like 5 dudes that you're most convicted about, but it's all there. So kind of my draft pool is here. And I do this hypothetical perfect draft where I get kind of things go perfectly. This probably won't happen in real life. It's probably not possible to really pull off, but it's a fun post and it's out now. And we'll talk about it in this podcast for those of you who like to listen rather than read. Although I think most of you, I would do it too. You just kind of scroll real quick through it and see the names and don't really pay much attention. But I didn't write a ton of detail anyway. Remember, if you want player detail, if you want my actual analysis and my reason for liking guys, that's in the team preview series, which is really that's the coal or something. We need another, the thing that kind of keeps the fuel for the rest of the offseason content. All starts with the team previews. I bounce, a lot of stuff starts there, and that's all good. So first rounder here, I guess we should set the table first. 30 rounds, 12-team league, hypothetical, Roto League, categories league, mostly looking at. I'm kind of just imagining like a standard Roto League categories, but it applies pretty much across the board. Using NFBC ADP with some changes to make things perfect. And there is a point to be made that relievers and catchers do go totally differently in home league drafts. If you imagine the Imagine League here is a 12-team league with 30 rounds. So whatever that is, 360, 12 times 30, 360 picks. So that leaves quite a few guys on waivers, and it's a 1-catcher league. So you just, in that situation, nobody's going to be drafting Cal Raleigh. Maybe they'll draft Cal Raleigh, but they're not going to be drafting Shea Langoliers in the 3rd round or Ben Rice in the 4th or something like you see with these NFPC drafts where you have 2 catchers and no in-season moves. Also relievers, like in leagues with replacement value and waivers and trades, closers just shouldn't be going as high, and they don't. So I've taken some liberties there. But we started it with first round Elly De La Cruz. So it's not, first round, everybody knows the stuff. Here's the ADP I got like a PDF from the dashboard, which is kind of nice. You can just drop you can just export the whatever dashboard view you have to a PDF and spits it all out. So that's kind of the first time I noticed that. But I was looking at it, and you could start. You can't really go wrong in the first round. I just chose to be near the back. Elly De La Cruz, ADP of 9. He's 8th ranked. I think his ADP is probably like 8.6. So I don't do decimals on here, but he's like the 8th or 9th or 10th player off the board in the average draft. Depends on if you go pitcher premium or something like that. Like if you're in a league where people will kind of push up Skeens and Crochet to be in the top 7 or 8, then Elly's one of those guys that probably gets dropped down. So I imagine, say I'm the 10th pick and I get Elly. That's not to say that I'd rather have Elly than Ohtani or Judge, but it's fine. I kind of just had to pick a start, and I kind of had sights on this 2nd round pick. So I started near the back, take Elly. Would be perfectly fine with pretty much anybody here. I even thought about taking Skubal in this. This is a perfect it's an imagined draft. So I didn't really make these decisions, obviously, but I thought about Skubal because I usually wouldn't consider like a pitcher super early, and in this draft, I actually don't get to pitchers till pretty late. You'll see. But Scooball Skeens Crochet, like I don't really remember a top 3 or a top 2 or a top 1 that's so far ahead of the rest. Like there's this big gap here between the tier 1 and tier 2, and everybody agrees on that. So, if that's the case, I think it's worth taking a pitcher in the first round, not every time or anything like that. But at the same time, yeah, you're obviously more likely to see Skeens Crochet or Scooball miss the whole year compared to Ellie or J-Ram or Soto or one of these hitters, right? Even Acuna, throw him in there. He's a little bit more injury prone, maybe you could say, but the pitcher is always more risk, and you do not want to mess up your first couple picks. So when it's close, I take the hitters, and that's what I ended up going with here. So Ellie at 10, which is not happening all the time, but it's possible. So that counts, fair. The one I'm taking a little bit of liberty with was my second round pick in this hypothetical draft. So 12 team league, picking from the 10, I'd be at number 15, right? Because the 12 guy would have 12 and 13. Then the 11 guy would have 14, and I'd have 15. Now, Kyle Tucker's ADP is 13. It's actually 14. He's there's just like one slot here. So he's 13th or 14th. So in this case, I don't know what happens. Somebody reaches ahead for Tatis or Carroll or Caminero or Raleigh or Vlad or something like that ahead of them, so I get a little bit lucky. But it's the perfect draft. It's the ideal situation. So things are going to go my way, right? Kyle Tucker, just the categories leagues. I don't even know if you have to distinguish it between categories and points or whatever. It might be better in points. I don't know. Just like with the Dodgers, man, the numbers are going to be like up there. He's not a 50-50 threat, right? Kyle Tucker's not a guy who's going to hit 50 bombs, doesn't have that kind of power, doesn't have that kind of speed, but he's had 30-30 seasons before, or at least very close. I think 2023, he had 29 homers, 30 steals. On that good Astros lineup, he scored 97 runs, drove in 112, so he's well over the 200 runs plus RBI. I think if he stays healthy, cruises past 200 runs and RBI. The Dodgers are just going to be giving runs and RBI out like absolute madness this year. It's going to be crazy. So I want some Dodgers hitters. I don't end up with actually I end up with one Dodgers pitcher here, as we'll see, but I'm kind of more on the hitter side of the Dodgers. Not no real workload concerns for dudes like that. There's no reason why Kyle Tucker, Betts, Freeman, Ohtani can't play 150 plus games. Maybe not Freeman, but why wouldn't they run out Tucker every day unless he gets actually hurt, right? Like there's not that same workload risk. So second round Tucker, 5 outfielder league here, by the way. Kind of want to get in the outfield early on. So we imagine this perfect situation where I get Ellie and Tucker starting with 50 steals, 50 home runs between those two, like no problem. Round 3, then go to another outfielder. And since I try to balance this out, I got a little bit lucky per se with Tucker in the second. So I'm reaching for this one. I could have said I'd get Langford in the third, but I'll reach ahead a little bit to get him. Just I think it's another 30-30 guy. I don't know. You've heard. I'm not going to talk through all 30 dudes like this in super detail. I got to speed this up, but read the Rangers preview. And if you're not brand new here, like you kind of know what Wyatt Langford can do. I think the sky is the limit for him. I think it starts this year. 4th round, we get into some pitching. Hunter Green, wanted to get one of the elite guys. Hunter Green didn't pitch much last year, 110 innings or something like that. Maybe even that might not be exactly right, but it was, he missed a good chunk of starts, 5 to 10 starts. He missed more than that, even maybe. Yeah, probably missed like 12 starts or something like that. I could actually just pull the numbers up and give you it, but you know what I'm saying. So you get a little discount for that, but also maybe a little bit of risk that he's just not able to hold up. But it was a groin thing last year. It wasn't arm or shoulder. So good enough for me. 4th round ace, Hunter Green, certainly pitches like it. So that's my ace. Round 5, right back to hitters, Mookie Betts. Just can't miss on 5th round Mookie Betts. Guessing that in my home league, we have 20 players kept. So if I want him, it's probably like a 3rd rounder, and then someone's going to freaking jump me because I'm just giving it out. Like I'm telling my whole league. I'm telling my whole home league, they all read this stuff, except like maybe one of them, maybe 2 of them. One of them can't read. Shout out to Pish. So no problems there. But you know that like Clint or Lee or somebody is going to take Mookie Betts from me. That's fine. I'm not going to reach in the second round or whatever, but you get hit, you get a really nice price on Betts. Point being that like this is my second shortstop already, but whatever. Like just get the stats, get the discounts, get the values. Mookie Betts is going to smash this year. He probably plays like a first rounder, honestly. Maybe you're not getting that 30 homers or 30 steals. You might end up with like 22 homers and 10 steals or something like that. But runs an RBI and average and OBP. I mean, Dodgers is just gonna be a juggernaut. So I really like having two bats. I mean, that is nice, right? It's not great for me for my watching pleasure because I'm very rarely awake past like 10:30, so I don't get to watch a lot of Dodgers. But Betts and Tucker, pretty nice. They're going to score and drive in so many runs, so that's always nice in a categories league. Sixth round, we get a little bit of a discount per se on Ben Rice. I get Ben Rice here in the sixth round just because I think, again, like catchers aren't going to go as aggressively as they do in this 12-team one catcher thing. So in this case, I get Ben Rice as my catcher, all about that. Just think he could clear. I think he could easily be the number 2 catcher and maybe even mess around and outdo Raleigh because the batting average might be so much better. So really like him. I'm just buying in on it. I mean, it's a buy high or whatever. Like this isn't sneaky. This isn't like my own little sneaky find or whatever, but Ben Rice, just like I'm into the hype. I'm buying in. I think people are right about that. So to recap so far, it was Ellie, Tucker, Langford, Green, Betts, and Ben Rice. Seventh round, we get Austin Riley. Not sure if I can actually do this. This is the biggest liberty I took, I think. This would be in the 82nd overall pick. And Riley's ADP is 64 and probably even coming down, not quite. Okay, now he's in the mid 60s. He's gone below 60 just twice. But yeah, this would be like the max pick for Riley. So yeah, this isn't realistic, I guess. Maybe in here I did write like maybe at this point in that sixth round with Ben Rice, maybe in this draft, like no catchers have been taken. That's not unrealistic, or maybe just Raleigh or something like that. So maybe I get Raleigh in the sixth, and then maybe I get Rice in the seventh. So a little bit interchangeable there, but I don't think it's possible to pull off all 7 of these picks. But just I couldn't leave Riley out because the point of this, right, is not to make some team. It's because it's a fake team. It's just to show you like the guys I'm looking for in the draft, the guys I would absolutely love the most. So that's the point made there. Austin Riley, third baseman, needed some power, bounce back candidate for sure, and great price for him. Not really understanding why he's as cheap as he is this year. 8th round, Tyler Soderstrom, another guy that is being pushed up and probably not quite an 8th round pick. This would be around 90 or 100 or something like that in my hypothetical draft, but that's about where he goes, 80, mid 80s. So I'm getting them maybe, again, like imagine this is on ESPN or Yahoo or something with some people that aren't all that sharp and they're missing out on Soderstrom. Because if you look at Soderstrom's stuff from last year, like it wasn't anything you like need. I think he could fall a little bit. So 8th round for Soderstrom for me, I'd put him in my outfield. 9th round, then we get a closer, Edwin Diaz. Not sure. Again, it's totally inconsistent where closers go in your like home league. So I don't think it's unrealistic at all to say that somebody in the 9th round starts taking a closer. My general strategy, like I like Diaz. I like the whole top tier. I kind of want one of them. Mason Miller is typically the number 1. I don't want to start the closer run, right? Like I think that's actually one of the 10 commandments. Like don't be the dude to take a catcher or closer first, but just react to that. So take your guys, and as soon as someone else grabs Mason Miller, or maybe it's Edwin Diaz, and then I'll just take Mason Miller here or something like that. Like there's not much difference between the two. I'm not saying I dislike Miller or anything, but Edwin Diaz on the Dodgers going to get all the saves. They're not going to mess around with him. They're not going to do this like split saves thing. It's Edwin Diaz. So like getting him in the 9th. Nico Horner in the 10th, needed a second baseman, probably needed a little bit of batting average and steals. I like Horner. I'm not in love with him or anything like that. Like he's not going to hit 15 home runs, and I don't typically like to draft that. But at second, it's so ugly. Like I'm fine. Like give me Horner around pick 120 or something like that, and average steals. You know what you're going to get. He's pretty solid, pretty predictable like that. Got to fill in second base with somebody. 11th round then, so we're 10 picks in with a 1 starting pitcher. So this is where the run starts. It's this group that I just really, really like. Emmett Sheehan in the 11th, Jacob Misiorowski in the 12th, Drew Rasmussen in the 13th. So 3 starters in a row, Sheehan, Misiorowski, and Rasmussen. Maybe just some value, some cheaper prices for Sheehan and Misiorowski because they have not thrown full major league seasons. Not even close, right? Like these guys only threw a couple months, maybe 3 months total as a starter in the majors last year. In the case of Sheehan, he was coming off a long injury. Misiorowski just was finally just getting to the majors, had some command issues that slowed his minor league stuff, but all aboard this year. I think they're both like per game SP1s, I think. No guarantees, but man, it's worth a shot in the 11th and 12th. And then Rasmussen, not nearly the same upside for him, but going back to Tropicana, as I've said countless times this offseason, like really like this Rays pitching staff. Notably, I liked Boz as well, Shane Boz, but I guess it's really just Pepio and Rasmussen for me. So I'll take Drew. Not going to get a lot of quality starts, probably. Still probably be more of a 5-inning guy, but the ERA and the whip, like the career just speaks for itself, man. He's like always putting up elite ratios. For some reason, you get him in the 13th round. I'm not sure why. Ryan Walker, another closer, just like he's probably a good like last solid closer to take, whatever. He's near the back of these guys that are actually the closer. And I'm not sure why. I mean, the strikeout rate isn't good. He hasn't been that great. And I think he did lose the job last year, but that was to Randy Rodriguez, who is much better. Randy Rodriguez is clearly better than Ryan Walker, but he's out of the picture now because he had some surgery and Rodriguez isn't going to pitch. So it seems like Walker as the closer there. They didn't sign anybody. They didn't trade for anybody. He's got closer experience. He hasn't been awful. Ideally you get someone with a 35% K rate or something. He's not that. He's like a mid-20s dude with Ks, but seems like he should be the closer for the Giants who could win plenty of close games. So good value there for Walker. We're imagining just a saves league here, no holds or anything like that, or else this would go differently. 15th round, another upside pitcher, Mackenzie Gore. You know why I like him. Not the best safety or floor. He's certainly someone that you could end up cutting. Like last year, he was great for you for 2 months and then was terrible and then got hurt. The wise thing last year would have been to cut him in July. Hard to know that at the time. But we're back, new team, health, hopefully a full year of command, hopefully a full year of those first 2 months we saw because he was one of the best in the league early on last year. I think that terrible end to his season, terrible second half, plus the injury probably makes people, it results in this price where you can get him in the 15th round. I don't see a lot of downside there. Like worst thing that happens is he's not good and then you cut him and you lose a 15th round pick. Like that's not all that bad. You can replace that. It's not the great. You don't want that to happen, obviously, but even in the kind of like the bad case, like he's still getting a lot of strikeouts. He's always gotten strikeouts. So, and then the nut case is just that he's an SP1 because Texas still plays like a pitcher's park and he has command and he's just elite all year. So huge upside there. Can't pass up on that. 16th round, Jack Caglione. Big power, big bat speed, good contact rates. Just needs to lift the ball. This is a perfect chance for him. Second year, he came up midway through last year. So this is his first full season. Got those valuable couple hundred plate appearances out of the way. Seems like a really good buy to be like a dude that you're taking in the 5th round next year. So that's the kind of guy we're looking for late in the draft, dudes that you can pay off like 10 rounds or something like that. I think Caglione is that easily. You're going to have to reach on him though. Like if you really want him, I'm going to have to be like stupid early with him in home league to get him. I don't even count on it. Like at this point, my own personal home league talk, like I kind of just give up on getting all these guys. Like I'm not gonna. So his like average ADP right now is like 200. So that's probably 14th, 15th round, like in a home league, but to make sure I get him, like I know someone's going to be looking to jump up on him because they know I like him and they've kind of bought in what I'm selling. Not everybody's going to believe what I'm saying or whatever, but I'm not the only one talking up Caglione either. So he's going to be a very trendy pick. I think someone's going to reach. So it's like if I want to make sure I get him, like do I use my 9th or 10th round pick on him? I don't know if that's the right thing to do. So I'm just okay, whatever. I don't get all the guys in the home league and that's fine, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll be nice to me. 17th round, Brian Abreu. this isn't a holds league, right? So it could easily be a drop if Josh Hader does end up getting healthy and getting back. I don't really think there's a world where Hader is on the active roster and Abreu is getting regular saves. I think it's Hader's job, but Hader is not healthy, and who knows, man? What if he's out? What if he just doesn't get healthy and misses most or all of the year? He would be a top tier closer. I think he would be. Let me pull up the relief pitcher stuff. Like, imagine Hader's gone, and like then imagine where would Bryan Abreu be going as a closer? I would think it would be number 6, number 5. I think Miller, Diaz, Munoz, Cade Smith, Joan Duran would stay ahead of him. After that, it's like Bednar, Williams, or Aroldis Chapman. He would definitely go in that clump. I would personally take him 6th, I think. That's where I'd rank him if he was a closer. So total steal here if that Josh Hader thing goes that way. You'll be kind of rooting for Hader to be hurt and stay hurt, but that's okay. Like, our rooting interest doesn't actually make the dude hurt, so we're not hurting anybody, right? Like, maybe it's bad for your subconscious, for your soul, to be like kind of hoping that something bad happens to another dude. We're not hoping that he gets hit by a truck or anything like that. We're just hoping that in this case that he just doesn't play much this year and Abreu can rack up saves. So I like the target there, but again, if Hader comes back in a saves league, you just drop Abreu. In a holds league, he's super valuable no matter what. So there's that. 18th round, Bryan Reynolds, kind of boring. We're getting to a few like kind of boring low upside picks here, but we need those solid contributors. Bryan Reynolds as a 4th outfielder this year, ADP was always right around 100. And now we get this discount. He was a little bit unlucky last year, and there was something going on in PNC Park, like the park factor kind of crashed down. Some talk about maybe that was humidor related or something like that. So we're getting like a 100 pick discount on Reynolds compared to the last couple of years. And that's exactly the type I like to go for, man. Like, give me those dudes that were considered proven and safe for years, and then they have one bad year and they crash down 100 picks. So yes, gobble that up. Probably late round Bryan Reynolds. Caleb Durbin to go in. I guess that would be a utility spot or corner infield spot at this time. I just like the upside. I think he could be another guy that you end up dropping because he's not playing every day or he's not hitting, but steals are there for sure. And there's a little bit of power. I mean, he could hit some balls over the green monster. Could end up being near the top of the lineup for the Red Sox. I don't know, like a lot of upside for him. And I think the steals will kind of hold you up even if other things aren't coming together. 20th round, Marcus Semien. I have Horner, so I didn't do the idea I've discussed on second base stuff where you just don't take a second baseman and you take Marcus Semien super late. He'll be my second baseman. Maybe Horner ends up going to 3rd or something like that. Probably not, right? But Semien can fill in there. At this point, we don't even need him in the middle infield because we have Ellie, Betts, and Horner. But Semien is going to go to the utility spot or just the bench, see what happens. See if we can get that big bounce back. Again, another guy that's just going way later than ever before this year. He's not so old where, this isn't a Nelson Cruz situation where he's 41. So good bounce back opportunity there for Semien, good price. And if you have to drop, you have to drop, whatever. You're not dropping much at this point. Shane Smith in the 21st, Connolly early in the 22nd. 23rd is Braxton Ashcraft. So 3 more breakout pitchers, which you already know I like. I've talked a lot about these guys. Smith early, Ashcraft, Connolly early might have to sit on your bench while you figure out what the Red Sox are doing. Maybe he just goes to AAA and you don't want to hold him. Maybe you don't have a minor leagues stash spot or you can't put him on IL or anything like that. That's fine. But if he's in the rotation, 22nd round pick for early, you're going to like that a whole lot once he gets going. Ashcraft, Pirates guy. I'm not against having some buccos on the team. I don't draft them ahead of where I think they should just because they're on the Pirates, and I like that. But love Ashcraft. 97, 98 mile an hour fastballs, great slider, good command, big dude. Like, lots to like with Ashcraft. Not sure why he's so cheap, honestly. I guess still like he hasn't been for sure announced in the rotation. Maybe that has something to do with it. It was looking legit questionable at the beginning of the offseason, but then Oviedo and Burrows get traded, and obviously Ashcraft's in there. So total steal there, in my opinion. 24th rounder goes to Carlos Correa. Just a veteran breakout, kind of the same story with Reynolds. Not quite the same story. Correa hasn't always been good. He hasn't been good for Roto Fantasy in quite a while, but in Houston with the Crawford boxes, just he played a lot better there. Maybe there's some kind of narrative streak where he's just happier in Houston or something like that. You know, he hit a lot better. It's probably just a small sample size thing. I don't know, but if he can do anything like that, like he was at the end of last year, this is a steal. Other point being that Correa has actually had really good years. I mean, he's been hurt a lot, but he hasn't been a bad hitter. And a couple of years ago, while, you know, around the injuries, he missed a lot of time, but he was really good with the bat. It's better for OPS slugging stuff rather than home runs, and he doesn't steal any bases at all. But RBIs, you know, can he hit 20-some home runs? Can he hit 270? Can he drive in a bunch of runs? Yes. And in the 24th round, it's worth a shot. He's healthy now, so you should get some production out of him early on. If he gets hurt, whatever, no problem. 25th round, Mike Burrows. I think we're kind of in the reserves now, the bench guys, but Mike Burrows, I'd start him. I'll be confidently starting him early on in any decent matchup. The sinker is new. The fastball is fine. The changeup is elite. So big upside there if the Astros can unlock something with Burrows. And, you know, he looked pretty good as a Pirate too. So lots to like there. Jordan Lawler, Carson Bench, Dylan Beavers. We take 3 young hitters here just to see if we can kind of hit a lottery situation. All these guys have power plus speed. Big upside on all of them. I imagine that in this, you know, if you end up with all three of these on a team, I do imagine that at least one of them ends up getting cut and flames out pretty hard, but I feel pretty good about one of those being a huge breakout too. And that's the kind of things we're trying to do late in the draft. Buy these lottery ticket dudes who end up in the top 100 picks or something next year because they have these skills. You just, you know, they got to play it. None of these dudes have proven it against major leaguers. Lawler's had chances, hasn't done it. Bench hasn't had a chance. Beavers has done pretty well, but really short sample with the majors. So Lawler, Bench, and Beavers, 3 of my favorite like young breakout hitter potential dudes, and you can get them super late. Finish up with our favorite 2 last round pitchers, Cade Cavalli, Simeon Wood Richardson. Unless you're brand new here, you've heard me talk about Cavalli. And like I've been talking about these 2 a lot lately. So you know the story. And if you don't, you know, just search MLB Data Warehouse for those names and you'll find it. So there it was. The perfect draft. Catcher Ben Rice, first baseman Tyler Soderstrom, second baseman Nico Horner, third baseman Austin Riley, shortstop Elly De La Cruz, middle infielder Mookie Betts. The corner infielder will be Carlos Correa or Caleb Durbin. The middle infielder, did I already say that? Betts is in there. Outfield is Tucker, Langford, Caglione, Reynolds, and Beavers with Benj and Lawler on the bench. Lawler could also go into shortstop, maybe even third base in some situations. Semien and then Durbin or Correa, whichever one of those you didn't put in the corner spot. Are my utility guys would be, you know, maybe you end up putting Benj and Lawler in that utility just to see. Got 5 men on the bench here. The ace is Hunter Green, Emmett Sheehan, Jacob Misiorowski, Drew Rasmussen, Mackenzie Gore, Shane Smith, Conley Early, Braxton Ashcraft, Mike Burrows, Cade Cavalli, Simeon Woods Richardson. That's the starters. Probably benching Woods Richardson and Cavalli early on just to kind of see what you have there. Relievers, Edwin Diaz, Ryan Walker, and Brian Abreu. Sets us up pretty nicely. I would be absolutely ecstatic with that team. On the screen, I put every name of guys I considered. So how I did this was I went through the ADP and just marked everybody that I would consider for it. And then I put together the team in the way that made sense, that kind of came together. So I have the full like player pool of dudes I considered on the screen and in the post, but I'm not going to read them all because that's boring. Go to MLBDataWarehouse.com, click the pinned post. It's free. Scroll to the bottom, and you'll see those names. Or you can just pause the podcast right now and look at it. And that's the perfect draft. Those are my guys. It's not exactly putting my stamp on like 5 to 10 names like I have in the past. Maybe I'll still do that, but more is better for you, right? So I would kind of hope if I can put together a team that has just full of only dudes on this list, like I'll be feeling pretty good about it. Unless I'm wrong, you know, unless a lot of these picks flame out horribly like last year. I kind of built teams last year around like Shane McClanahan and Matt McLean. And that didn't go well. But 2 years ago, this was a smash. The perfect draft thing made me look like a genius. But then, law of large numbers. If I got one good one, the next year was going to be bad. Last year wasn't great. So I shouldn't even say that. But this year will be good because I'm smarter now and I'm older. I'm 35 now. So goodbye. That's the end of the podcast. Talk to you later.